Knows Best channel, helping you be a successful man, a powerful man, enjoy the world, and just have fun out there. But learn about women. What's going on with women? What are women thinking about? And what are feminists and these kinds of women up to? What are they doing? They're always playing the game. They're always making changes. They're always doing something to their own advantage, and certainly they have. And well, I'm going to let you have some insight into the women's world, and what's on the up and up, what's changing, because like the friends with benefits thing, like people didn't catch on to that until it took them a while. And this mutually beneficial dating, or beneficial dating, is the thing that's upcoming and the new thing on the scene. A lot of you men and people out there are going to say, oh, this is just sugar baby, sugar daddy stuff. We're going to get into this article from Online for Love. But it's more than that. It's a little bit of traditionalism, and it's a little bit of feminism work together, kind of to support it. It's not really the OnlyFans type of girls. It's more of like a personal relationship for women, but where they're more of like a escort, but more on like a consistent basis. But let's jump into this article and see what they recommend. Again, they're the ones promoting this, and they're the ones talking about this. So they say, while the term sugar dating, and if you're not familiar with that, this is where an older gentleman usually, or a more wealthy gentleman, not only hires a woman out for her services and fun and pleasure and all that, but also the man it's a little bit more of a relationship. Not always. It depends on the couple. I guess you can call them a couple, but where the man is expected to give more gifts and be a little bit more lavish, give a fancy purse, or bring her on a fancy vacation, and that kind of thing. So that's the kind of the sugar baby thing, and they're called babies because a lot of these women, especially if they're attractive, right when they get out of high school, they're selling themselves to the highest bidder. They know exactly what they're doing, and people act like it's not common. It's actually very difficult for you as a man, sometimes to even find, if we're gonna rate women out of a 1 out of 10. Sometimes hard to find an average, especially if she's a 6 or a little bit more attractive. If she's pretty attractive, she's a 7. She's very attractive as an 8. She's gorgeous as a 9, or she's like and she gets into that model territory in the 9 and the 10, where she's pretty darn, almost darn perfect, or perfect. She can go to modeling, she can go to acting, and a lot of them are choosing to do this to fund their way through college if they don't have daddy's money, and if they already don't think that they're getting enough government assistance. They just want extra money. They just want a little bit more. This is the kind of thing they're doing. So they say, while the term sugar dating has become very popular on social media, it seems like many people still don't understand. Yeah, a lot of people still don't understand this dynamic, even what sugar dating or the sugar baby, sugar daddy relationship. But this beneficial dating isn't the same as that. Some people are going to mix the two up, but let's see what they have to say. They say, we hear about mutually anyways, mutually beneficial relationships every day, but no one seems to explain this type of arrangement. Yeah, it's an arrangement. It's a deal. It's kind of like a long-term escorting kind of deal. So they're explaining and encouraging women to do this, and this is becoming a lot more common. It says ladiesseeking.com is running a deal. Yeah, they promote that women get involved. Often women don't have to pay to use these websites, and the men are the ones that have to pay. But I'm not sure exactly how these work because I haven't paid, or I'm not a member of these. But I did want to mention that they recommend all of these websites here for these women who are looking to take advantage of this. Seek an arrangement. What's your price? They're selling. I mean, they're selling themselves. Ashley Madison, where you target married men, if that's the kind of thing you're into. Elite Meets Beauty. Yeah, it's all about the successful rich men. Sugar Daddy Meet, and there's a quiz, so they recommend you the best website and maybe give you some tips and tricks. So they say the term mutually beneficial relationships or arrangements is something you will hear all the time, sugar babies and sugar daddies, and the main reason why people engage in sugar dating in the first place. It's obviously money. The men, a lot of the times, these exclusive men. Again, a lot of you men raised to be traditional or in traditional families still look for love. You still listen to music that talks about love and the men giving and sacrificing, and you still want to find that special someone. You still sometimes find yourself finding a woman thinking, is she the one? You got that one-itis. You find some woman who's fairly friendly to you, and you think that she's going to be consistent, or somebody you can build a family with. And I do think that's important to build up society. I do think that is the best thing for a society. But as you can see, or as you can tell, it's just not. That's becoming less common. More and more women are switching over to this quote-unquote beneficial dating, and the exchange and the relationship is predicated on how much money she gets and how much she thinks she's worth, because she's not going to settle and she knows her worth. And you might think that that is more on a moral type thing. It's like, oh, old-fashioned or more traditional types might think that, oh, a woman should not should find somebody who's on her level and respectable, and they almost can think that they're agreeing with this stuff. But a woman knowing her worth, she's really talking about her price tag. What how much would it cost for her to sell out, and like a Belle Delphine and some of these women, how much, what's the price tag? And a lot of women, if they met the man who was wealthy enough, or if somebody offered them enough money, they would, and they are. And so our society is changing, and this is kind of interesting. I don't know if this is going to eventually have us change into where we have more of a surrogate mother type of relationship, where a woman agrees to have your child and raise your child for a certain fee, or a certain amount of money, and then you can kind of agree once that child is born what you might do with that child. I do think that as we go forward, that's going to have to be something that's discussed as well, because women with having children or not having children, this is what the middle class women are doing, that your middle class daughters are hearing about and they're talking about. Again, if you're poor or an immigrant in all this, you're probably sticking to your religion or your culture a little bit more strongly. But I mean, this is one of the other things that's contributing to people just not having children, is because when these women are young and wanting to have fun, and they have that first time and they can bond with a man, especially when they have their first relationship, and their first time, they give it away for money. They sell out, and it used to be something that was extremely strange or extremely crazy. Women selling their virginity and stuff like this. But this is even a step beyond that, and this is considered pretty normal to a lot of people these days. This is just normal to a lot of people, and to some people, they think it's quite shocking. So let's talk about that. They say sugar dating has become a pretty popular topic in the last few years. Yeah, it's actually quite common these days. Escorting has been done that's been around for a while, the last 5 or 10 years, where even young women would escort themselves, even if there's not laws to protect them, and they live in maybe a state or somewhere where that's kind of frowned upon. But this is just making it mainstream. They have apps for this on the phone. You want to call up somebody on a Friday evening and you want to have some fun. And you got enough money for it. That's what we got. So essentially, we're legalizing. You know what the word is. I can't even say it here on YouTube. But they're proposing themselves and selling themselves, and it's being made legal through alternate means. It's not a formal business. It's not a business location where you would go to the kitty cat club or something crazy like that. This is more of on an individual relationship business, so it's not seen as like something that's formal. So again, governments aren't penalizing this. Again, governments just step in to really kind of control our, men. If men were unhappy about this or felt like they weren't getting enough benefits out of this, um, they would, or if it took away from, their tax dollars enough, eventually they might have to or want to tax this. Uh, Anyways, well, let's continue. They say sugar babies and sugar daddies have different motives. Yeah, that's true. They certainly do have different motives and different ambitions. The young women often want to be validated and get enough money to get themselves through college. A lot of these women are going to do this on a short-term basis. They're not going to make this their full-time career. They don't have any ambitions on becoming a star on the hub. A lot of these women are going to do this to get maybe get themselves a couple rent worth of money. Once they step out of the house and they don't have any money, maybe mom and dad aren't supporting them, or maybe they want a little bit extra. They're going to do this for a short period of time. That's kind of what's going on with the beneficial dating. They say mutually beneficial relationships are based on an agreement. Yeah, so they have to make an agreement that's verbal, sometimes written, sometimes they actually go through the process of making written and even legal agreements between two, this man and woman. Usually it's a man and a woman. But let's read a little bit more of this, and I have some big points I wanted to make about beneficial dating. What I think that you as a man needs to know. So they say what a mutually beneficial arrangement is always depends on you and your wishes. And I promise that every single man and woman will find their dream partner. That's kind of the allure here. A woman can have demands and wants. And, a lot of the times there's men who are very accommodating. And a lot of the times women do get what they want. And again, you as a man, you can find kind of what you want, your fantasy, if you're a very wealthy man. And that's kind of one of the aspects that why this is so interesting, because women out there can make a demand, and a lot of the times there's a man who's lonely enough or desperate enough, honestly, to do this. I saw somebody recently, and they were looking to get in this type of arrangement, but they weren't willing to meet in person. They weren't willing to send any pictures. They weren't willing to make any type of content. They just wanted to be able to have a conversation about every day. Just have a conversation, Skype, text, and they were wanting for somebody to be willing to pay their rent. $1,500, I think it was, a month, just to talk with them on the phone. Again, this lady didn't seem to want to, do ASMR or do, anything, alluring, but she just wanted to have just a conversation. Like you were just talking with a friend, like, how was your day? And she wasn't particularly friendly. She wasn't particularly interesting. And I don't think she was creative. And it didn't even seem like she was willing to, be flirtatious or dress up for a Skype call. And again, she wasn't willing to do feet or any type of, anything quote unquote romantic or sensual. So there's women. This is kind of women putting in less and less effort. In the past, if you wanted to access to a very wealthy man, you would have to do something physical. But the women are trying to get away from that. That's a part of beneficial dating. A lot of these women almost want an escort or a this type of relationship, like with a John, but they want it over the internet. So they want to put in even less effort and get paid just as much, if not more, money for having a pseudo emotional relationship through the internet. So again, in the past, women would have to be willing to meet up and actually do something with a man. These days, a woman wants to be able to find a lonely or a lonely wealthy man or a man who has a certain type of fetish or an interest and be willing to do that over the internet. It's quite interesting that these days where we're going where we're going with in society and with relationships. It really is. So let's continue down this article and any of these particularly interesting points that they make. They say wealthy men are looking for young and beautiful women. Yes. Again, women are going to often do this if they're 18 to 25 because that's what these wealthy men want. And that's when the women are willing to sell themselves out. And if this continues and gets really popular, even if you want a really traditional man, even if the woman is a traditional woman and potentially wants a family, she might sell out one way or another when she's younger and maximize and get the most benefits she can, and then she's going to quote unquote settle for you. Who, even if you're higher status than her, she's settling for you once she hits 25 or 30 or 35, whenever she feels. And again, a lot of these modern women think that they're getting married at 25 is way too young, and they tell other women that getting married at 25 is way too young. So they're going to try to wait till about 30. And again, some of the really attractive women can get away with that potentially, but a lot of these women, who, especially if they have bad personalities and they're not the most attractive, that's why a lot of these women are getting so angry, because they've kind of been lied to and they played the field, and they expect or demand that a man be there, if once they hit 30 or 35 and their looks start going down and they really can have very few kids, and their kids are at higher risk of having disabilities and autism and all these problems. And then they think that there's something wrong with men because they don't want to step up. And again, some of these women also are single mothers, and they don't think that's a problem. Anyways, with the sugar baby and sugar daddy thing, again, I hope that this is making sense. This is different from beneficial dating. It can be a similar situation, but beneficial dating is kind of whatever the woman wants, and really kind of through the internet. It's kind of like what's going on here. So this is a whole new age. I don't know. Again, I don't know if this is going to completely catch on. Like the friends with benefits thing really completely changed society, but not everybody talked about it. This might completely change everything. And a lot of men also never caught on to the friends with benefits thing. Women were out there with the friends and benefits thing, having friends, female friends, and male friends, and they kind of got away with that, where they're like, oh, he's just a friend, but it was a friends with benefits thing. But also they could kind of choose to make that a relationship, because a lot of these men did want a relationship, but they're also willing to hit it and quit it. But these women made it out, so they could kind of keep things under control in regards to emotion, but if they wanted the relationship, they could kind of turn things on and off depending on, whatever they wanted. And the men usually often capitulated, or often was, emotionally invested. So, they know when a man's invested and when a man's emotional or not, and they can take advantage of that. So, anyways, they say, however, not every sugar baby arrangement should be like this, and there are plenty more things that will be offered depending on the rules. So yeah, this has a lot of really depends on the couple, what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. Again, they say a pay per meet, so it can be like a Friday night, a meetup. It can be an exclusive thing where you're both exclusive, or one party's not exclusive and the other. Again, one of the interesting things about this, as a woman who's in a beneficial dating relationship like this, she expects an allowance. So she's going to continue to be in this kind of relationship, being somewhat emotionally invested, or at least pretending to be somewhat emotionally invested. But a woman has to be given allotments every week of like $300 or $500. That's what a lot of these women expect. So it's almost like a subscription service women. That's what women are becoming into on a more personal basis. So again, it's kind of like OnlyFans, but I guess there's a little bit more talking involved and potentially something physical or something a little bit more personal. So it says a live-in sugar baby arrangement is a type of arrangement where you're actually like living together. It says especially during the pandemic where many men are left alone in their homes. Yeah, so you could be having a woman live with you um, and have almost a girlfriend relationship. But again, she's going to set most of the rules, her wants and her demands. Again, you're going to be having to pay weekly or monthly allotments, um, and and again, it's just about again women having more control of the situation. Again, I'm not trying to act like this is completely bad. Um, again, if everything's an exchange, and that can be fair, but again, women are just demanding more and more money, and and again, this kind of takes the power of money away from men. Again, in the past, influential men would have multiple women, could even have children with multiple women, possibly have a polygamy or a harem. But now women are so demanding and have such high expectations. Again, this potentially could work out to be something fair, but we know that it's not. These women are so demanding. You know, they have to find the man who looks right, dresses right, he's influential enough, he's wealthy enough, and you know she often is not going to have a kid. And if she does, again, with our current legal system in most Western countries, even in Europe, most of these countries, uh, you know, you're on the hook. You're in a lot of danger if she wants to walk away it's almost like being divorced. Having a kid with a woman is like essentially being married, especially if she's not in your house. If she has your kid and she's in your house, you're definitely considered married to a lot of these cities and to a lot of these judges. So you're not in a better situation. And again, you can have all these legal agreements, but our legal system is not made up to respect these legal agreements. I don't know when or if our governmental systems and our governments and these places are going to respect legal agreements. I do think that could be fair or could work, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen because you know women potentially can lose a lot of benefits, yeah, of divorce and all these things. Again, it would take a lot of women fighting, and seeing that they would get some benefit if they removed those divorce laws. So that's one reason that feminism and feminists, quote unquote, and they supposedly care about equality, they don't really fight against divorce laws. And and those divorce laws, again, can be applied to you in all kinds of different ways. Even if you don't have a kid, and even if you aren't married, and not even necessarily if you're living with the person. So this is just all dangerous. And this is why a lot of men are just avoiding women completely, because this is all dangerous. But anyways, maybe this potentially can give you some safety, depending on your agreement. And but again, it's just not a lot of. This is just dangerous. But anyways, let's continue, men. Let's read more. Let's do a little bit more research. They say my sugar baby experiences have shown me that older men are usually the ones that choose this type of relationship. Well, exactly. They have the money to afford it. They've probably been divorced already, and they don't want to be divorced again. And they're willing to pay for a younger and more attractive woman. And the woman wants a luxurious house and apartment, so they want the lifestyle. Again, even if these women aren't able to marry this man, even if they don't necessarily even want to marry the man, they can have some fun, and they can step into this luxury lifestyle. They can see what it's like. They can step into a higher class of society, and they can have all the money and all the privileges. That's essentially what women are doing through this. They're elevating their status, and they're often still college, and they're still career women, and they're going to step into a higher status of living. But again, often they don't even have to have kids, or they don't want kids. They often don't have to commit to a marriage, but they're stepped up to a higher status in society. Again, some men who have wealth, they don't care. But again, if we care about relationships and marriages and kids, men should, in my opinion, shouldn't be handing over all this money. A woman, you should expect a relationship or a marriage or kids if you're going to hand over this type of money and have these kinds of relationships out of a woman. I mean, I guess if you have enough money and you can play the field and you can have all kinds of different women, and then you don't have to have kids, and you don't have these responsibilities. But the way I see it, it's kind of shallow. I mean, I guess you as a man, especially if you're wealthy, you can keep this going on and you can keep having your fun. But is this fulfilling to you? Is it fulfilling to you? I don't know. To some men out there, some multimillionaires out there and some very rich men, it must be fun, I guess, to have all kinds of different women, and them, these women throwing themselves at you, and you can pick and choose, and you have all this power. But this is unimaginable to most men. Again, the average man is invisible to most women. Most women completely ignore, don't even realize that these average men just exist, and it's difficult for the average man just to get the attention or the approval or date or marry or have children with the average woman. Again, to a woman, it's settling to date somebody of a similar social status, and most women who are average, or even especially if they're just a little bit above average, they know that they potentially, and that's why they risk their youth. They risk their looks and their beauty up till like 30 or 35, and some of these women made it. Some of these women did go up to a higher status. They married a more influential man. They got a bunch of money and benefits, and they invested, and they also worked, and they were able to get themselves to a higher standard of living. The ones that are really unhappy and the ones that are really mad are the single mothers who, couldn't get that higher value man. They're the ones who did have a couple kids, and they weren't able to, they weren't pretty enough, or they didn't secure a wealthy enough man. And they also didn't invest themselves, and maybe they weren't willing to work or put themselves in that situation. So again, a lot of these sugar baby, sugar daddy relationships are women who are willing or ready to take advantage of that because they don't want to become the single mothers of the next generation. Which again, it's not great to be a single mother, but again, they have all these government programs and they have all this money thrown at them, and that's still not enough. Women are trying to avoid responsibility completely. Really, that's what's going on. They're trying to avoid responsibility completely, not have any stress. They just want to live on luxury cruises and go to resorts and have fancy purses and live this quote-unquote luxury life. But they're not really building up society and building up people and building up civilization. They're not building families. They're not... I don't think that they're fulfilled. I don't think that they're happy, but perhaps that they are. If you women out there are in sugar baby, sugar daddy relationships, please let me know below in the comment section. And men also, if you're a sugar daddy, let me know. Do you want to do this for the rest of your life or for a long period of time? Is it truly fulfilling for you to have these types of relationships? And is it extremely expensive to you, or do you have enough money where it doesn't really matter if you spend $15,000 or $20,000 on a woman, a sugar baby every year, or multiple sugar babies a year, where you're spending, 10, 20, 30, maybe more $1,000 maybe a year. Again, they don't have a lot more. I think that's particularly important to talk about. I already mentioned that. I knew it from the beginning. A lot of them are college students who are trying to get themselves through and pay their student loans and get their first car and get themselves their first purse and get that boost, get that jump, and feel like they're moving up in the world. It'd be nice, man. I mean, imagine if you as a man had attractive, influential, older women who are willing to, pay off your college debts and get you a car. And that's, I mean, that's just unimaginable. And giving you allowances where you're going to build yourself up into a higher status of living, um, that's almost just unimaginable. Again, you don't have wealthy women doing this for younger men. You don't have. I mean, it says if you are interested in a sugar mama, or on a dating site, millionaires. I don't know. Maybe there are some out there, but I don't hear about a lot of them, and I don't see them. So maybe they exist. It's I don't know. Societies do change, and there's been all kinds of different religions and cultures throughout the ages. Again, my concern with all of this is is children and families. None of this seems particularly stable, and perhaps this is the future of relationships. Uh, Again, people out there think that I, as a man, would be looking forward to this because you can have multiple women and have them, on a little bit more possibly emotional or a little bit more of a consistent basis. Um, I just think about kids, and again, a lot of these people in these arrangement are avoiding kids or don't want kids or don't care about kids. But again, what this is going to do to society is that suburban, upcoming young women are going to get more and more involved with this, and in the middle class is going to continue to have less and less kids, and then we're just going to have less and less um, a shrinking population, and the average man, or you men out there who do want families, it's just this is gonna lead for you to have less and less options, and you're gonna, again, a lot of you men, not only do you not see the red flags, but you also date down in looks. And if a woman is average looking, it's going to get harder and harder just to get an average looking woman. Yeah, I mean, you men out there who are even more attractive, sometimes you would be a 6 or 7 out of 10. Sometimes you 6 or 7 out of 10 out of men are, you're now going to be expected to date average, maybe even below average, and maybe you look pretty good. Maybe you are a 7 as a guy. If you don't have the money, a lot of these women, they're not going to be particularly interested in you. It's kind of it's we're going to go into a world that's kind of crazy. So again, I women are expecting this, and they like this, and I'm not going to criticize or try to point out certain YouTubers. YouTube might not like that, but there's one out there called like Ziva, and they actually do support somewhat, a little bit, traditional relationships, not completely, not marriage, but they almost would be willing to go into an almost marriage type relationship. But what holds the relationship together? Is it just money? Is there something more involved where there's like love and dedication? It's again, maybe I'm old fashioned. Again, I was raised in the 90s. I still think that love should be something that we care about and think about, but where is the love? Where is the love? People don't talk about love. People don't care about love. This is, I don't think that this is going to end very well, or we're not going to have any healthy or happy relationships with these with any of this. So anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. I'm going to end it here. I don't want to make this an hour-long video like I have some of the past. Let me know, what do you think about this going forward? Do you think that society is going to completely change into these types of relationships? Again, a lot of women are hiding this. A lot of your daughters are hiding this when they're younger. They don't want to get exposed. They don't want their friends or their family to know about this. But a lot of women are doing this behind the scenes, and it is going to become more and more common. Again, I want people to come together and work together, and I don't know, maybe this is what feminists have always wanted. Again, I'm not trying to hate on feminists or beat up on feminists, but I mean, do you care about families and children, and you constantly want to kick men out of the home? Is this what you want? You're just going to always go for the wealthiest men. Is this what you call equality? Is this what you call fairness? Because again, 60 or 70% of men are completely being pushed out of society. I mean, completely. They're invisible. It's going to be it's going to be harder and harder for you as a man to find a relationship or find marriage or find kids. I mean, even if you were willing to risk your entire life and risk everything for marriage, you as a man might have to go to different countries or move to different countries uh, because they're to try to afford this a woman, because in Western countries you thought that they were expensive. They're about to become a lot more expensive, and you thought that you were going to be able to find an 18, 19, 20 year old who maybe hasn't been to college yet or hasn't gone to college. And but again, some men are going to see this as a benefit, because some men, even if maybe you're not a millionaire, even if you have 100,000 or a couple 100,000, you probably could find a woman. She might not be a 10 out of 10 or whatever, but she probably still would be pretty cute, and she might be able to work with you. So some of you men out there might be able to play the field and have some fun, but I don't know. Maybe I'm traditional. I still would like marriage, but I still would like a long-term relationship and love, and to build something up, and peace and quiet. And I women just don't even talk about that anymore. They don't seem to even care about that anymore. So, anyways, you as men, you might think that this is exciting or not. If you are an average man working an average job, working hard out there, I don't know what to tell you. This is tough. This is not going to be easy for you. You're either going to have to date way down, and pay the little bit of money that you have. But again, you should be investing that in yourself. You if you're young, even 25, even 30, you should be investing in a company, investing in yourself, investing in your future. Don't be thinking about paying money as you go. This might seem normal, that you throw some of your money here and there for these types of quote unquote relationships, if you can even call them relationships. If you do want to play this field, it's got to be when you're 35 or 40 or maybe older. Once you actually start becoming really financially successful. And then if you also had good genes and genetics, and you start becoming successful when you're 35 or 40, that's when you're really going to start, if you are looking forward to this and if you do want this, that's when you're going to really start playing the field. And really start getting those young attractive ladies when you're 40 or maybe even 45. And again, a lot of people act like that's gross or strange. And a lot of these modern feminists try to lie about this. But a woman who's 20 years old, and she's very impressed and attracted to the status, the money, and even the looks. A 45-year-old man, if he's kept himself healthy, and he's also successful and he's well dressed, even if he has a few gray hairs. These women are into them. These women are attracted. They're very attracted. And again, you young men who are 20, 25, 30, some of you out there still, I mean, especially if you're not the most attractive, you're still out there surprised and looking, and you've tried for years to find a good woman. You've tried for years to find a good relationship. You're still, still can't seem to find the right person. Again, you're probably looking for love, or you don't understand the dating dynamics of the day. You have to, be willing to. These days, you're going to have to be willing to give over more and more money, and it's got to be the woman's got to. She's going to set the rules. She's going to set up the relationship, and have most of the control. So I don't know. Let me know what you think about quote unquote beneficial dating. Is it a terrible thing? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Do you look forward to beneficial dating? Do you want to be involved in beneficial dating? Are you going to be? Would you tell your sons or your daughters about this? Would you encourage it? Would you discourage it? Do you think that people should care about families or be concerned about families and children. Let me know what you feel about all this. I don't know. I just don't have a good feeling about it. Let me know if you do, and I'll see you soon. Peace out, everybody. Much love. Be safe out there. Be a successful man, and live life on your terms. Don't, again, women, they can set some rules, but you also can have some rules. Don't just because you want some fun, don't let them control you. Again, this is a give and take, and that's what equality is all about. But again, men, you're going to have to also know what you want. So I guess that's my little moral of the story. Know what you want. Know if you're willing to participate in this or not, any of this or not, and you're going to have to figure out how to, get what you want out of any of this, because we're going into a whole different world. So of dating and relationships. So I'll see you soon, everybody. Have a good one. Have a beautiful day. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and come back, because I am posting content regularly here at the Daddy Knows Best channel. Lots of content for you, and I'll see you soon. Peace out, and bye.